Good morning, everybody. It's like seeing a room full of my favourite people. But I'm going to start today with a confession. A few years ago, when I saw people in their mid-career start to disengage, I assumed it was an attitude, it was a lack of ability, it was actually a lack of ambition for their futures. But then I started spending loads of time with people in their mid and later career, and they were doing everything right. They were loyal, they had long service, they had deep capability. And what I came to realise was that they wasn't running out of energy. The system, our workplaces, had run out of imagination for them. And when people start to feel invisible in midlife, in their workplaces, it's not just a problem for those individuals. It's a leadership problem. It's a productivity problem. And in today's economy, it is a significant growth problem. And if any of this makes you feel uncomfortable, then you're in the right room. Because what I see is brilliant organisations designing brilliant careers and then stopping half the way through their career. So, Age Pioneers is not a normal summit. I'd like to just get a feel for the room, so please put your hand up if you've been to an Age Pioneers summit before. Yeah, about 40% of the room. Perfect, right. Keep your hand up, please. Look around the room and spot the people that you need to go and talk to at the coffee break and at the lunch break to find out what they're all doing. Perfect, thank you. And what I'm going to understand then is that, so because you are in the room, you're going to have some sense of knowledge around what's happening to our ageing population. So I'm not going to fill you with stats around the fact that we've added 30 years to life expectancy. I'm not going to be repeating over and over again that a baby born today will live to 104. And I'm going to assume that you know that within 4 years, the entire Western European workforce will be aged 50 plus. But if you are earlier in that journey, then I encourage you to look at our did you know boards, whiteboards that you'll see out in the coffee and the lunch break areas to see some stats. And then throughout today's sessions, you are going to have some mind-blowing information. And feel free to snap a screen, snap a slide, anything that helps you understand. And so I'm going to get us started with, please stand up. You can be assured I'm not going to ask you to hug a neighbour. You don't have to, tell somebody a really interesting story about a tattoo that you've got. It's going to be none of that. But what I want you to do is recognise that you have been hand-selected here today. We turn away hundreds of people that ask to join our Age Pioneers Summit. But we've selected you because you are the change makers. You are the people in this room who are going to change the face of work for people in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s, and beyond. And because of that, I'd like you to stay standing if you're one of those people that has been to Age Pioneers before. And I'd like you to stay standing if you're one of those people that are here for the first time. And that's because I'm making a point. Age is the only diversity characteristic that brings us all together. It's the only unifying characteristic, which means it's the only universal leadership challenge right now that you can solve that's going to positively influence everyone's careers, including your own. So thank you, and please do take a seat. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the old story, because the old story is breaking. And what is the old story? Well, the old story is that people hit their peak. You heard it before, talent leaders? When people hit their peak mid-career. Then they start to plateau, and then they go into decline. And then we might quietly nudge them out, or we might intentionally encourage them to exit our organisations. But there's a problem, because that story is now commercially dangerous. Because our midlife workforces are propping up all of the cracks in the backbones of our operations. They are the people with capability, judgment, institutional memory, customer understanding and empathy. They are the human in the loop that you need for all of your AI projects, and they have context. Yet at the moment, that backbone's breaking. And so the question today is not about what are we going to do about aging. The question is, what are we going to do to make sure that we keep our backbone strong, our midlife workforce engaged, productive, and moving forward? When we last gathered here, Age Pioneers, it was in June last year. And we take it on the road, by the way. So last year was at LinkedIn, the year before was at EY. Today, we're thankful very much to BT. November, we'll be at AXA's head office. So we like to take Age Pioneers on tour to all of the customers that we work with. But when we were together in June, we had a theme of risk and reward. And it was really, really relevant, actually, because the lack of an age strategy presents itself really obviously from a risk perspective. It's around succession gaps that you can't hire your way out of. It's about attrition and capability gaps that are leaving your organisation. It's around a succession plan that looks brilliant on paper, but collapse in practice. And it's also about seeing a workforce that feel that they have a future inside your organisation rather than having to leave and set up shop or go elsewhere. And the cost keeps going up. When we were together in June, the average cost of an age discrimination payout in the UK was £120,000. Fast forward 6 months, and the latest case, just at the end of last year in the US, against Liberty Bell Mutual Insurance Company, 103 million was the settlement, as courts around the world, full of midlife judges, are going, I've had enough. We've given you warnings. The year before it was 30,000, then 120, now 100 million, because the plaintiff, a lady called Joy Sagal, who had been with Liberty for 30 years, felt that the organisation was favouring young people and was selecting her to exit because of her age. But the reward is just as high. We see that those businesses that really invest in their multi-generational teams, where people can grow, thrive, and work together regardless of their age, we see that they are the ones that are winning the race. And according to Gartner, they are also 288% more likely to outperform their financial targets. So there's a phrase I've said before, and it's never felt as relevant as today. If you don't have an age strategy, you literally cannot have a growth strategy. It's the only growth population on the planet. It's the only growth of talent pool. It's the only growth of customer pool everywhere in the world. And so now is not the time to just worry about, have we got an idea and is this a midlife issue? You're going to understand today why this is mission critical today. So I've become a little bit obsessed with a new phase. It's called the midlife productivity crisis. And this isn't because I'm obsessed around ageing, although I probably am slightly obsessed around ageing, I won't lie. If you hear me on social media, you'll see it's kind of a big topic of mine. But it's really this weird phase when individuals in your organisations are still adding value. They're still contributing. But they believe that the organisation has stopped seeing value in them. They're not leaving, they're quietly disengaging. They're not giving you their best. And 92% of over 50s are telling us that they feel unsupported by their employer in midlife. And it affects the whole system. It affects them, it affects their leaders, your teams, your training schedule, literally everything. And when this segment is now increasingly the largest percentage of your workforce, why on earth would you ignore that productivity opportunity? So today's theme, the theme of the entire event, and I am your compere, your host. I'll be jumping on and off the stage. We've put a slightly higher stage than normal so you can all see me. You'd be pleased to know at the back. I'm not blessed in the height category. But we're going to be focusing on how do we revitalise and re-energise your midlife workforce. And you're going to need to really help us by making 3 decisions this year. The first decision is, are you going to treat an ageing workforce as a HR risk, Or are you going to treat it as an enterprise risk? Because if you leave it in HR, in DE&I, in talent acquisition, in L&D, then it will stay as HR's problem to fix. But if you recognise it as an enterprise risk, which it is, and the companies we work with recognise that at board level, then you get board attention, you get pace, and you get budget to do something about it. The second decision that you need to be making: will your organisation compound experience or constantly leak it? So if your best people are leaving mid-career with decades of insight in their head, that's not attrition, that's capability leakage. And so the winning organisations don't leave this to chance. They design careers, teams, transitions, flight paths, and handover of skills with intention. And then the third decision that we're going to support you throughout today to consider is, are you going to bolt on a programme? Is there going to be a little pet project over here to support the older workers? Or are you going to build this in and actually create an age strategy for your business that takes you forward into the future? We are now blessed with working with over 300 of the world's largest organisations. And we made a huge leap of faith in January this year, for those of you that didn't see the press release, by acquiring the Global Age-Friendly Institute. They were headquartered in the US, so we've now got a brilliant team out in Boston, Massachusetts, who work for us, and we've brought on board another 180 age-friendly certified organisations, from Sanofi to Accenture through to the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. That coverage, along with an amazing affiliate network that they'd built, there's just a few examples here of some of those amazing affiliates, mean that we now have boots on the ground across Latin America, across Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Central America, and even to give you a feel for their size and scale. So Maturi, for example, in Brazil, they've been operating for 10 years. Their August conference has 2,000 attendees, and they support 400,000 over 50s in the workplace. So we have scale. What we also have, and if I get my little white cat and my spinny chair and start going world domination, we have the world's largest data set. So with 20 years of audit certifications from Age Friendly, as well as all of our insight, we are now the largest owner globally of demographic data. So when you want to benchmark your industry or your performance, or look at a region of Latin America or Hong Kong, we have the data to support you. And it couldn't be more relevant, because everywhere I travel in the world right now, age is on the front cover. So if you haven't already seen it, I've got a copy with me. This is this quarter's Time magazine in the US. And you only have to flick to the Oscars or the catwalk to see the leading indicators around the fashion and the luxury industry that are realising that the money is where age is. So what's the promise? What's the contract? I solemnly swear, as my job as your guide, your support, your lead through today's agenda, that our mission is to inform you with quality data today. It's to inspire you with peer group case studies and organisations sharing the good, the bad and the ugly of what they're doing in their organisation. And it's to equip you with some actions that you can actually take tomorrow. But as the lady that you can probably see here, she's paying, there is no such thing as a free lunch. So you may think you've all come here for a free lunch, but there is a deal to be done here. And that deal is three things. We would ask that you are really honest in the discussion. Really share what's happening. Don't give us the sugar-coated, brand-aware version. You are amongst peers who are trying to change the shape of their industry and the future of work. And be honest with us around how we can help you with that or not. So please be honest. Steal the best ideas shamelessly. Take your photographs. Grab the speakers when they come off stage. Rugby tackle, Morris to the ground after he's done his piece, and find out what are they doing and how do we get that traction in our organisation. But then my biggest ask is that you don't just leave today going, well, that was nice. But you actually decide on at least one action that you were going to pick to implement after today. And we're going to support you with that. The structure of today is slightly different. You'll know, for those of you who have been before, we listened, you have tables, you can write. We listened, you've got peer group sessions that you can be working in your table. You might also be slightly uncomfortable about the fact that your tables have your competitors on. And we thought really long and hard about this. It's like, do we mix people up, or do we have a table that's all looking at the talent industry? Do we have a table that's all looking at publishing and media? And we thought, actually, if we're trying to change industries, we need to get people talking in the industries that they are. And then when you go to coffee and when you go to lunch, then literally the whole room is open to you. So it leaves me with great pleasure to be the introducer of today's phenomenal lineup. We have so many great speakers for you today. I feel like I'm live at the Apollo, like some kind of like weird random warm-up act. But we're going to be kicking off in a moment with Morris. We've got Ree from Unilever. We have Neil from Just Group. We also have Natalie, who's our own managing director, Simon from Just, Jeanette from Cornerstone, huge telecoms business, Stephen from John Lewis, Morag, who was at Unilever and is now at Blue Moth, Tanya from BT, our hosts, Joe Morell from publisher Octopus, Matt from BT, and Margot, who is one of our compares for our session this afternoon. And we split the agenda into 2 sessions. So we have pre-coffee and after coffee. So this morning's session, we're going to go into a case study with Tesco Ireland and find out exactly what they've been doing across their business. We've got a little bit look around how midlife coaching is transforming the employee experience. We then have another case study, Just Group. We have a double act, the dynamic Simon and Neil joining us to share what they've been doing across Just Group. And then we have a facilitated round table session. And then we're going to break for caffeine, and I encourage you to go talk. And if you're not a confident talker, head over to the Did You Know board. Get some great stats from there and a great conversation starter. Part 2, after coffee, an amazing panel hearing from the likes of Cornerstone, Unilever, John Lewis, about what they are doing in their businesses. We've got our hosts, BT, sharing exactly how they have been rewarding and growing the midlife employee experience here in the building that we're kindly hosted in. And we have a fireside chat, again with me, for The Age Rebellion, which is a book that I have coming out in May, and you're getting a sneak preview of that with our publisher today. We then have another roundtable best practice sessions that we want to work with you on, and then we close out. And then we have a networking lunch, so about 1:15 till 2. Help yourself, please mingle, please make the most of the people that are in this room today. You are a senior audience. So, last couple of logistical things. You will see on your lanyards, Debbie McGee, for those of you old enough to remember, there is a QR code on the back. That QR code takes you through into our team where you can put anything. Questions that you want to ask a panel, questions that you want to ask us, follow-ups, documents that you want to download, reports that we've produced. Please use it throughout the day and share with us what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how you'd like us to follow up with you on certain topics. Or send you, can I have the video recording of that session? Likewise, we have a teeny-weeny marketing budget, and I mean teeny-weeny, and so we need your help. Please shout about today. Tag us into your post. Tag in 55 Redefined. Use the hashtag #AgePioneers. And we encourage you to really share your learning and your insight from today with the world, so everybody that couldn't be in the room can have some snippets and takeaways.